Good morning, everybody, and welcome to week five. We're also going to talk about week six here. I know it's a little late in week five. I thought this was a pretty simple thing, so maybe didn't need a video for it, but just wanted to kind of cover it real quick and then really spend more time on our week six activities, our week six project. And as always, if you have any questions, let me know. Just a quick reminder, we do have a number of people that are missing assignments or turning assignments in late. Just remember, they're due on Thursday nights. Please get those in. Points are taken off. Still make sure you turn it in, even if you do get it in late. Obviously, you'll get points. If you are behind in this class, please reach out to me. I will do everything I can to make it work for you. So, anyways, hope everything's going well. I've enjoyed looking at your comments so far. Definitely enjoyed looking at your closing the gap stuff. Seeing how you kind of think about how we can change that with using technology and how we can make that more accessible to everybody and just make it more equitable. So this week you were looking, doing what's called curation tools. Curation tools are just a nice way to kind of place to hold stuff, place to, build almost like a library or museum of your work, or some place where you can put a bunch of information and students can go get. So a lot of different ways to use it. And I hope you're looking at some things and maybe finding some things that you can use for your class. I want to touch base real quick, just to kind of give you some tips on this. I'm going to share my screen with you. Going into our modules here and looking at our week five, I can believe it's week five, curation tool and project. Really what you'll do again, just is if you haven't done it so far, look at different kinds. It doesn't have to be one of these. It can be any curation tool. Pick one, only pick one. You will then basically, you will then evaluate it on those five things, and then you will create an activity or a project. Just create something that you would use. Now, if you have any questions, you can look at this, and this gives you a nice little example of what it should look like. This has everything you need. Again, you're going to list the three curation tools you looked at. You're going to list the one you picked. Then you will go down and make a comment on each one of those evaluations, and then you will do the project. Now, that's a pretty detailed project. It doesn't necessarily have to be that long. I'm not saying this is the perfect one, but I am saying that's a really good example and how I'd like to have it formatted and what you need to do. So if you have any questions, make sure you look at that. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the curation tool. I want to spend a little time talking about next week's assignment, which is our social media, kind of thinking about social media and how we use it for kids. Two things. I just want to kind of give you the overview. I'm giving you a couple options, actually. You have two options. One is if you have Netflix, there's a movie on Netflix called Social Dilemma that came out a handful of years ago. And it's really interesting on how it's a way that basically the idea of how social media kind of works and how it tries to grab us and grab our attention. Not necessarily made to be a deal of, well, you never use social media, but just to give us a better idea of maybe why kids are so addicted to it and why we are actually. So that if you have Netflix and you'd like to watch that movie, you will do option two. So you watch the movie Social Dilemma and respond to these two questions with 400 words each. So not a lot on the backside, just more of watching the movie and then answering a couple questions. And again, that should show your knowledge of watching that video. The next option one is if you do not have Netflix, I don't want to make you buy Netflix if you don't have it. Then you would do this is where you would pick at least three social media tools. You would evaluate each one of those social media tools. So maybe you'd pick Snapchat, Instagram, and X, or TikTok, or you'd pick three, and then you would actually evaluate all three on these three things. Then after evaluating, you'd pick the tool you want to use most in class, and then design a social media project about it. So you have two options here this week to do. I'll let you kind of pick the one you want to do. Again, preferred would be the social dilemma because I do think it has an interesting point to it and something to think about, but also is, I want to give you the option to do the other one as well. There are some articles here on how to use social media in your classroom. And in a second here, I do want to talk about that and kind of why I wanted to have this video. But just different tools if you have any questions or some different things that you can do and how you use social media in your class. Now, I know the immediate answer by a number of people is, well, I'm not going to use social media in my class. And we can talk about all the reasons that social media is bad. I can tell you a million reasons why social media is bad. I can tell you how it negatively affects my life and how it, I get angry and I get tense and and how I'm kind of like, I can be addicted to it at times and like always checking for the, latest update. And it can be so consuming. So yes, there is that. And obviously our kids can spend way too much time on their phones. My children do that 100%. And I get all of that. But by just dismissing it and saying we will never use social media, we're really missing where our students are. Our students are on social media. And you can say, well, I'm not going to do it. Well, then you are going to miss out on a big area that your students, where they are. And I really think as teachers, it's our job to go to where the students are. Sure, we want to bring them towards us a little bit, but we can't sit in our ways and go, well, that's not how I think it should be done, and I'm never using it. So what I don't want in any answers is like, and I talked about this with technologies, well, I'm just not going to use technology. That's really not an option. I don't see how anybody, and I would be happy to have that conversation with anybody, that you do not use technology at all. If you're watching this video, you are using technology. You are going to school. The only reason you're able to go to school online is through technology. So you can't tell me we don't use technology. You're going to eventually have to enter grades into a computer. That's technology. But regardless, I really think we need to look at how can we use social media in a meaningful, intentional, and a positive way. So that's what I kind of want you to think about with this when you think about it. And how do we use it? And then how can I bring it to the kids? And maybe it's something simple like, hey guys, like everybody, I'm going to be sending messages out. Like that's how that's one of my options as a way to message you is through social media. I use GroupMe for some of my classes. That's like that's a social media thing where I send them out, some kind of like, I know people use Snapchat quite a bit. My kids, live on Snapchat. As far as that's how they text. They don't text through normal means. They text through Snapchat with their friends. So just thinking of that. So I just want you to keep that in your mind. It has a lot of bad things to it, absolutely, but everything in the world. I mean, I can give you a million reasons why my kids shouldn't be driving, why my kids shouldn't do this, and this. But the reality is that's where the kids are, and we need to go to them if we want to effectively communicate. And if we just say that's not what I do, then you are going to miss out on a big opportunity to reach your students. So again, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. If you're falling behind, please reach out to me. I hope that you're getting a few things. We're going to start getting into more project-based activities where you will actually be doing projects. So hopefully it gets a little more real life stuff for you. But I do think everything we've done so far is important to set you up to have some basis on what's going on with technology. What do we need to do? And now we'll start getting kind of the meat of the class. So hope everybody has staying warm. Sounds like this is probably our last week for at least a little while. We'll be able to warm up a little bit. So, but again, if you need anything, please reach out. I'm happy to chat with you. All right. Have a great week. Bye.